I'm news columnist John A. Torres, and welcome to the second episode of Inside Murder on the Space Coast, where every Friday we will recap and talk about Season 3 of Murder on the Space Coast and the episodes so far. Spoiler alert, if you have not listened yet to episodes 3 and 4, stop right now and go and listen to those episodes first. Once again, I'm John Torres. I'm the narrator, reporter, and the writer of Murder on the Space Coast, produced by Rob Landers. The editor is Mara Bellaby, and once again, my co-host for Inside Murder on the Space Coast is Jessica Saggio.
Hey, everybody.
Hello. Welcome.
Great to be
to
here.
our studios.
Yes.
It's pretty cool.
The elaborate podcast studio.
Right, this is where the magic happens.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Anyhow, let's get right to it. So just to bring us up to speed, okay, Brandy Hall was a 32-year-old firefighter and a mother of two. She left the Malabar Fire Station August 17th, 2006 and went missing. Okay, now, episode 3, we learn about a dark secret that caused some real problems for Brandy and her family. Jeff Hall's grow farm, his marijuana business. What did you think when you first heard that?
So episode 3 is where this story starts to get really juicy. And so I had to listen to episode 3 and 4 I craved episode 4. Yeah. But episode 3 we hear about this whack situation with this marijuana grow farm operation happening in the middle of the woods, and so it sounded like the middle of the woods, and it was like this guy who was like a public servant essentially now growing marijuana. So it's like the least likely a person that you think would be doing this. Exactly.
And the weird thing to me was that he was on a retired fire captain pension, whatever. Brandy's a firefighter. They also have a welding business. They seem to have a lot of money. Why would you need to do this? But just real briefly, do you think your husband could operate something like that without you knowing about it for years?
No, my husband can hardly go to the bathroom without us knowing about it.
Because you keep a keen eye on him.
No, it's when you're in that tight of quarters with someone and you live with someone, you pretty much have a feel for what they're doing. And if you're married to someone, you periodically check in. And if there's a gap in time where you don't know where they are, then you're like, well, what are you doing? You'd think that she would have asked, if she really didn't know about it, hey, where have you been for the past 6 hours?
And why do we have all this extra money floating around?
Yeah.
Anyway,
why do you smell like weed? No.
I asked Jeff Hall about it, and he was actually pretty honest and open about why he chose to do this. So I'm hoping that producer Rob can hook us up right now with a clip of Jeff Hall talking about it.
I don't know what really started all that crap, and me and my buddy was just talking. I had retired, and because the shop is doing good, and I really don't know what brought all that on, because we was making a good living. It just sort of happened, and one thing led to another, and it got to be kind of exciting, to tell you the truth, and knowing it's wrong, but kind of exciting. We was figuring stuff out. It was stupid, and it was very, very stupid, especially for somebody with my background,
Okay, so now, as we know, Brandy is arrested as well and charged. The charges get dropped, but she lost her dream job as a firefighter. And if you listen to episode 2, her ATV accident, that really caused her to want to help people. Again, I have to put you on the spot, and your poor husband. But if he caused you to lose your dream job, and I'm not saying that Florida today is your dream job, although it probably should be, okay, how angry would you be about this, and would it be enough for you to leave town without your kids and skip town?
Okay, this whole thing is super weird. Well, for one, yes, I would be like Elmer Fudd, steam coming out of my ears if I didn't actually know about this and this happened and it was all affecting me. But I mean, any married couple, the other one affects the other one. And there's been instances, I'm sure, in most married couples' lives where someone's actions has affected the other. Maybe not to where they lose their job, but yeah, I think we'd all be pretty ticked off.
Yeah.
That being said, the whole leaving town thing without your kids, and she's described as this mom who really cares. She calls her kids and does the prayers at night every night. I cannot imagine any
That's
mom.
hard to conceive of.
Yeah, just be I'm mad, I'm gonna skip town. I just don't believe that at all.
I know, that seems really, really strange. Although we learned from episode 2 that she was probably able to live in the wild or in the woods, right? I mean, she was an outdoors, expert and all that. So anyway, so now moving ahead to episode 4, we learn more about Brandy's last night, the real details of it, her last phone calls that she made. We also learned that she had been carrying on her own secret. She was having an affair for several years with Palm Bay Fire Captain Randall Richmond, who happened to be the last phone call that we know she made after leaving the fire station. Now, Here's a clip from 2007 of Randall being interviewed by the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, and the agents on the tape are actually Wayne Ivey, who is now the sheriff of Brevard County, and retired agent Tom Davis, who's a friend of Murder on the Space Coast. So, Rob, roll the tape.
And that whatever she needed to run, you know, because the last thing she told me on the phone that night was she was waiting on money. She was getting money, she was waiting on money. She had said it a couple of different ways. She was waiting on money, she was getting money. You know, and then, where are you going? What are you doing? You know, and nothing was ever answered to me. Nothing was clear. So.
And what do you
I don't know if she ran off.
Yeah.
I don't know if she ran off. I don't know if she ran off with somebody. You know, I don't know if she was a smart girl. I don't know if she could have staged the blood that they said was in the truck. You know, I just don't know. I really don't know.
Just trying to.
I don't know if something happened to her.
Okay, so that was a pretty interesting clip. He tells the police that Brandy told him she was leaving town, she was waiting on some money. What were your impressions when you first saw that? And again, one of the reasons we chose Jessica is that she doesn't know anything about the Brandy Hall case. She was away partying at college, you know, doing whatever college kids do these days. Ooh, raise a roof, that's really old-fashioned probably, but I'm old. So you don't know anything about this case or what has happened. So when you hear Randall say that, what are you thinking?
So this whole part of the story like threw me off because I was like, wait a minute. She's painted as this like great mom and this great wife and this great firefighter, but then she's doing this like really open and kind of like moderately public affair.
Yeah, it was like pretty brazen.
They had a nick. They were called Brandle.
Brandle.
They had a nickname, so it was like, wait a minute. Like this is like totally changed everything for me. And then his statement was super weird to me. Like it like didn't sit right with me. It sounded like something someone like would come up with at the last minute when they had to think of something on the fly.
Yeah.
So I kind of didn't know what to make of that, but I didn't feel good about it.
Right, and so that's one of the reasons why the cops, you know, kept him on their radar for a bit, as you will see, you know, in future episodes. But Jessica, I want to thank you again for being part of the show. Remember to go to whereisbrandyhall.com for web extras and copies of the transcripts, the actual podcasts themselves, really cool interactive maps and all types of stuff. Murder on the Space Coast is brought to you by Florida Today, a part of the USA Today network, and the podcast is available on just about every major podcast platform. So, Jess, good job. Give me a high five.
Go listen to it. It's really good.
Thanks.
Keep listening.